For 10,000 years, the empire ruled the stars. They were old, ancient beyond memory. Their banners flew above countless worlds, their fleets blackened the void. Every species that rose from the dust eventually bent the knee. They called it the way of order. They believed themselves the bringers of civilization. But in truth, they were conquerors. They would arrive in orbit, fleets gleaming, weapons humming with power, and demand a simple tribute: resources, obedience, and silence. And so, world after world submitted. Fear kept the galaxy quiet, until the day they found a small, blue planet at the edge of a spiral arm. A world called Earth. Music builds, mechanical echo. Comms chatter faintly. The Empire's emissaries arrived over the skies of Earth. Their ships blotted out the sun above the cities. Their voices echoed across every broadcast. You will send tribute. You will obey the laws of the Empire. You will kneel. They expected fear. They expected silence. They expected another easy victory. But what they found was humanity. Quiet, suspenseful pause. Humans didn't answer right away. They didn't threaten. They didn't surrender. They just listened. Then, the message from Earth's Unified Council was sent, only one sentence: we will respond in time. And then, Earth went dark. No transmissions. No signals. Just silence. The Empire waited. A year passed. Then two. By the third, they assumed Earth had submitted quietly. Their tribute fleets on the way. The Emperor even laughed. Another primitive world tamed. He was wrong. Music deepens, rising tension, metallic heartbeat sound. At the dawn of the Emperor's coronation cycle, the capital world of Alindra Prime shone like a jewel among the stars. Palaces of crystal and gold reached the clouds. Millions gathered to celebrate the might of their empire. Drums thundered. Fireworks lit the upper atmosphere. And then, every sensor on the planet screamed. Thousands of warp signatures unknown, unregistered, approaching fast. Music explodes, chaos, alarms, shouting in alien tongues. The skies above Alindra darkened. One by one, human ships dropped out of FTL. First a dozen, then 100, then thousands. A fleet the galaxy had never seen before. Forged in secret, built by united humanity. Their hulls black as night, their engines burning with blue fire. On each ship's side, a single mark, the insignia of Earth. The Imperial fleet scrambled, their admirals shouting commands, but their formations broke the moment they saw the scale. They weren't facing rebels. They were facing a force born of desperation and unity. From orbit to orbit, human ships positioned themselves with surgical precision. In less than 30 minutes, the alien capital was completely surrounded. Every escape route sealed. Every weapon array locked onto. And then a single human transmission echoed across every Imperial channel. The war was over. The Empire was gone. Its fleets were ashes drifting through cold space. Its palaces stood hollow, their golden spires blackened by fire. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was quiet. In that silence, whispers began. Whispers of the species who had done the impossible. The humans, the ones who came from the forgotten edge of the spiral arm. The ones who refused tribute. They called it the day of surrounding. The day when an empire that had ruled the stars found itself caged by those it had sought to enslave. And though humanity had left as quickly as it came, their shadow remained long, deep, and unforgettable. Sound of distant transmissions, alien tongues murdering, starship homes. Across 100 worlds, rebellion sparked like wildfire. Enslaved races rose against their masters. No longer did they pray for mercy. They whispered a single name, Earth. They painted the human sigil on their walls. They called for the children of Saul. To them, humanity had become more than flesh. They were legend. They were hope. But legends carry weight. And the humans knew it. Tone darkens slightly, command room ambience. Back on Earth, the fleet returned in silence. No victory parades, no celebration. The leaders of the unified Terran Council gathered in orbit, watching the scarred ships dock one by one. Millions had labored in secret. Thousands had died in battle. And though they had won, they knew the cost had only begun. Because the galaxy was watching. And power, once claimed, never rests. The admirals and scientists met in the shadow of Earth's moon. They made a decision that would shape the next 1,000 years. Humanity would not rule an empire. They would guard the balance. They would create something new, a coalition, a peace forged not through tribute, but through choice. And so was born the Terran Accord. Music lifts, hopeful, light strings, and echoes of radio chatter. It began with 5 worlds of Earth, Mars, Luna, Titan, and New Kyoto. Then came the freed colonies of the fallen empire, the Surati, the Ixen, the Corral. One by one, they joined under the promise of equality. No tribute, no slavery, no thrones. Only one law, the strong protect the free. But peace is never simple. Tone shifts to suspense, rumble of distant storms. In the shadows of the old empire, warlords rose. Former generals turned tyrants, carving fragments of power. They remembered humiliation. They remembered fear. And they swore vengeance on the humans who had brought their emperor to his knees. From the ashes of defeat, a new threat began to gather, calling itself the Restoration. They whispered that humanity was weak, that Earth was naive to spare them. They built fleets in secret, forged in hatred and shame. And deep in uncharted space, a new banner was raised. The same sigil that had once demanded tribute, now painted in red. The Empire was being reborn.
ये कहानी है काबा की पहली तस्वीर की और उस इंसान की जिसने तस्वीर को क्लिक किया 1861 में।
अस्सलामु अलैकुम, मेरा नाम है मोहम्मद सादिक और ये है मेरी कहानी।
हज के सफर के दौरान सादिक ने 2 दोस्तों को देखा। एक दोस्त हज को जा रहा था, दूसरा उसे छोड़ने आया था। और फिर उसने कहा,
उस्मान, नबी को मेरा सलाम कहना।
इंशाअल्लाह मेरे भाई तुम्हारा सलाम पहुंचा दूंगा।
और पूरे हज के दौरान सादिक को यह ख्याल परेशान करता रहा कि न जाने कितने ऐसे मुसलमान हैं जो फिजिकल फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज की वजह से कभी मक्का नहीं आ सकते, कभी अपने रब के घर को देख नहीं सकते। काश वो सब मक्का आ पाते, काश
मैं किसी तरह ये मंजर सब तक पहुंचा पाता।
एंड वन डे ही गॉट एन आइडिया। सादिक ने वापस लौटकर एक पुराना कैमरा खरीदा और उसे लेकर निकल पड़े अपनी मंजिल की तरफ, मक्का की तरफ। 2 महीने का लंबा सफर करने के बाद, बहुत सारी मेहनत और बहुत सारी कोशिशों के बाद आखिरकार सादिक ने काबा की पहली तस्वीर खींची। उसके बाद मदीना की मस्जिद, मक्का की गलियां और ओहद के पहाड़ की तस्वीरें ली गईं। उस दौर में इन तस्वीरों को लेना आसान नहीं था। अकेले तपती गर्मी में 10 किलो के भारी कैमरे को पकड़कर पहाड़ों पर चढ़ना और घंटों की मेहनत के बाद एक तस्वीर ले पाना अपने आप में कमाल था। ये मंजर पहली बार दुनिया के सामने था और इसी कोशिश के लिए मोहम्मद सादिक को यूरोप ने गोल्ड मेडल से नवाजा। लेकिन एक सवाल अब भी मेरे मन में था, किसी और के लिए इतना जज्बा और जुनून कैसे? So I asked him, how?
जिंदगी में कोशिश करो मखतूब, एक रोशनी बनने की, ताकि तुमसे पूरा जहां रोशन हो सके।
बेशक जिंदगी यूं जियो कि तुमसे सबका जहां रोशन।
The war was over, but peace did not come easy. The stars still shimmered with the echoes of battle. The empire's capital, once bathed in golden light, was now a graveyard of silence. The banners that once fluttered across its spires lay burned, their symbols erased by the fire of human defiance. And in that silence, a new sound rose, not of weapons, but of footsteps, human footsteps. The Terran flag was not raised in conquest, but in warning, a symbol to the galaxy that Earth did not kneel, and would never again. Yet victory came with a weight. The fleets that had crossed the void returned scarred, ships limping home through wormholes torn open by rage and brilliance. Thousands of pilots never returned, their names whispered in digital cathedrals orbiting the moon, etched into light that would never fade. Humanity had won, but in winning, they had changed. The galaxy watched in silence. Old empires trembled, hidden powers stirred, and whispers carried through the dark. The humans are coming. Worlds that had been slaves for centuries sent envoys, seeking the protectors from the blue world. Some called them liberators, others destroyers, but all agreed on one thing. Humanity had become the balance of fear. The Terran Accord was born, a council not of rulers, but of voices, scientists, warriors, explorers, and dreamers. Their oath was simple. Never again shall tribute be demanded. Never again shall the strong feed upon the weak. For as long as Earth stands beneath the stars, all worlds have a home. And so began a new era. They rebuilt the ruins of the Empire's capital, not as a throne, but as a sanctuary, a place where no species would ever kneel again. The galaxy began to heal, but beyond the map stars, something watched, silent, ancient, older than empires, older than suns. It had seen humanity's rise, and it remembered them, for in the deep records of time, there were stories of another war, another species who defied the impossible, who burned brighter than they should have, and they whispered in the void, "It's happening again." The Terran fleets began to explore further, into regions where light itself bent and faded. They found derelict star cities, frozen corpses of civilizations erased from history, signs of battles fought not with weapons but with gods. And in the heart of one shattered world, they found an artifact, a device still humming after 1 billion years. Its symbols human. The galaxy changed that day. The scientists of Earth stared at the markings, and one whispered, "We've been here before." The council fell into silence, for if that was true, if humanity had walked these stars once before, then their return was not an accident. It was destiny. The universe was not empty. It was waiting for the return of its forgotten children, waiting for the light that defied extinction, waiting for the ones who, when faced with tribute and tyranny, did not bow, but rose. The stars had grown quiet again, but peace is never silent for long. In the months that followed the fall of the Empire, the Terran Accord spread across the ashes of tyranny. Worlds once bound in chains now sang old songs of freedom. Children born in darkness saw the sun for the first time. And for a fleeting moment, the galaxy believed in miracles. But every miracle has a shadow. Every victory leaves a scar. On the outer edges of the Orion Rift, Terran scouts began vanishing. Ships went dark, no distress calls, no wreckage, no light, only silence. At first, the council thought it was pirates, remnants of the shattered empire seeking vengeance. But then, the signals came. Echoes, fragments of human transmissions reflected from nowhere. Voices calling for help from systems that didn't exist. One message repeated endlessly. "We are not the first. We are not the first." The scientists grew restless. The soldiers grew uneasy. And the stars began to whisper again. Then came the discovery. A planet adrift beyond mapped space. A world half shattered, half alive. Its atmosphere burning with auroras of impossible color. They called it Eden's Ghost. An expedition was sent. Pilots, engineers, linguists, soldiers. The best of every nation. Among them, Commander Asha Patel, a survivor of the Tribute War. The one they called the Voice of Earth. Her fleet descended into orbit, scanning ruins older than recorded time. And in the heart of that broken world, they found a monolith. It pulsed once, and the stars changed. Across the galaxy, warp gates flickered to life. Dead worlds woke. Forgotten machines began to move again. And an ancient signal flooded every Terran frequency. "Children of Sol, you have returned." Panic swept through the Accord. Some thought it a trap, others a summons. But deep within the ruins, Asa heard something else. A heartbeat, faint, rhythmic, human. Her crew uncovered archives buried in crystal. their data encoded in the same mathematics as Earth's DNA. It told a story, not of aliens, but of ancestors, a species born of light and water, a species that once spanned galaxies, a species that fell, and was reborn on a small blue world. The humans were not newcomers. They were the returning. When the council heard this, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. History trembled. The empire they had destroyed was only the newest shadow of something far older, a cycle of conquest, collapse, and rebirth. And now the cycle had reached its turning point. Usha transmitted a message to every world in the Accord. We are not the lost children of the stars. We are their memory. We are what remains when the universe forgets itself. And we are awake again. Her words echoed across 1,000 suns. And from that day, every Terran ship carried a new emblem, a spiral of light encircling a human hand. They called it the Mark of Return.